Welcome to Internal Affairs. I'm your host, Dr. Roy Taylor. In this episode, we explore one of the most significant decisions in American criminal justice history, Miranda versus Arizona. This 1966 U.S. Supreme Court ruling forever changed the way that law enforcement questioned suspects in custody and became the foundation for what we now know as the Miranda Warning. In 1963, Ernesto Miranda, a 23-year-old from Phoenix, Arizona, was arrested for kidnapping and rape. After a 2-hour interrogation, Miranda signed a written confession. However, during that interrogation, he had not been informed of his right to remain silent or his right to an attorney. Miranda was convicted largely based on his confession. His defense appealed and argued that his Fifth and Sixth rights against self-incrimination and right to counsel had been violated. The case made its way all the way to the Supreme Court, where Chief Justice Earl Warren delivered the court's opinion in a 5-4 decision. The court held that the prosecution may use statements, whether exculpatory or inculpatory, stemming from custodial interrogations of a defendant unless it demonstrates the use of procedural safeguards. These safeguards include informing the suspect of the right to remain silent, the fact that anything they say can and will be used against them in a court of law, the right to consult with an attorney and to have one present during questioning, the right to have an attorney appointed if they cannot afford one. These rights became collectively known as the Miranda rights, forming the cornerstone of modern custodial interrogation procedures. So how did this impact law enforcement? Obviously, it was very controversial, and many law enforcement agencies believed it would hinder the effectiveness of interrogation and lead to fewer confessions. However, over time, police departments across the nation adapted and incorporated Miranda warning into their daily procedures. Today, every officer knows a familiar phrase, "You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law." The ruling reinforced that constitutional rights must be protected at all stages of the criminal process, even during interrogation. It emphasized that the pursuit of justice cannot override the protection of individual rights. While the Miranda warning sets a clear standard, questions continue to arise about what constitutes custody or interrogation. Courts have refined these definitions over decades, but the fundamental principle remains: law enforcement must respect the constitutional protection of suspects. For officers, the Miranda decision underscores the importance of procedure, documentation, and integrity. For citizens, it ensures that the power of the state is balanced by the rights of the individual. The Miranda versus Arizona decision represents the intersection of constitutional law and everyday policing. It reminds officers and citizens alike that due process is not an obstacle to justice, it is justice. I often get asked, when do the officers have to read me my rights? They have to read your rights once you're in custody and they start asking accusatory questions. That means, where were you at 10 o'clock? What were you doing? Who were you with? Did you commit this crime? Questions that we call booking questions: your name, your address, your social security number, your driver's license number. Those type of things don't require Miranda warning. They're simply administrative in function and don't lead to any conclusions of guilt. So if you're placed in custody, you're not free to leave, and the officers start asking you accusatory questions, then they should have read you your Miranda warning. If they pull you over for driving while impaired and they never ask you any questions that could be considered accusatory, then the rights are not required. So try to understand what your circumstances are and whether or not the rights should have been read to you. I look forward to seeing you on future episodes. I hope you'll stay tuned and watch episode 11.